The Boston Uprising are too busy trying to take the point. That's the Widow duel one. Again, Philadelphia Fusion always going to come out on top. Striker, though, lands a big triple on the barrage there. The Graviton helping. Both supports are caught together. That's what they needed, but Carpe strikes in again. Striking down. Kellex also being removed. Carpe, what are you doing? This is unbelievable. He turns around and gets on the point. Inquo follows it up. How have they redone this?
This week in the Overwatch League, the meta has moved on, but which teams are riding the wave and which are being left behind? The Dallas Fuel signs a new head coach, the LA Valiant now top the Pacific Division, and the Shanghai Dragons blew their best chance of getting a win. Plus, all the latest news and the best highlights from the past week.
You know that he's the carry and everyone's in on the action, and that's why.
He makes it look so easy. Unbelievable. Just not missing a single shot, all headshots, all headshots!
Going into Stage 4, there are a lot of questions about the impact that Brigitte would have on the meta, and while she's not been picked in every single game, her very presence in the hero pool has caused a dramatic change for some teams.
Brigitte? Oh, soon on Brigitte. Oh, that's so filthy!
Because she's such an effective counter to dive tactics, a number of teams have been choosing her as a means of shutting down Tracer. For example, in the Outlaws vs Uprising's second map, Hanamura, Boston came out with a very strong opening attack, and Striker's Tracer made short work of Jake on the Junkrat. In response, Jake immediately swapped to Brigitte.
Striker's really causing problems here for the Outlaws, and again, they didn't come out of the gates playing Brigitte, right? Now they'll probably have to switch to it to shut this man down.
Yeah, and that's exactly what Jake does as he comes off the spawn, but the biggest thing here is that kill on a cool mat. When you get him demexed, he's not able to be that scout on the point. Stay alive, you can't leave the supports in the back alone. With Striker, he takes out Bonnie.
Houston are back on the point though, they got the respawn in. It's rare to see that happen, but it's been good stagger by the remainder of the Outlaws to keep it alive. Easy as you like. Houston return and reclaim what is theirs.
The Outlaws should really have lost this fight, but as Jake returned from spawn, they managed to stabilise off the back of the hero switch and hold the point for a further 2.5 minutes. This tactic of counter-picking your opponent's heroes has become a major part of the meta for this first week. We've seen teams respond to Brigitte by running Junkrat or Pharah, which in turn have been countered by Zarya or Widowmaker.
Oh, that's a big Graviton! Everyone's inside it, and Jake will have it for dinner, that's 4! And he'll probably try and chase up a couple more. Close and thought about the resurrect, Jake has 5.
This raises the value of players with deep hero pools, particularly in the flex DPS roles, where being able to move between Brigitte, Pharah, Hanzo, Junkrat, and occasionally Zarya or Genji has given teams like Philadelphia an edge.
Eco's looking for glory, gonna drop down now, mistakes. Oh, he's caught midway through! Gets the dash at just the right time, but that's 2 down. Mercy and Widow removed.
Reinhardt and Zarya have also taken over from Winston and D.Va for many of the maps, as they combo with heroes like Brigitte, Hanzo and Pharah so well, and are very strong in this map pool.
And off the back of that, they will have a Shatter, Flank Shatter behind!
Oh, beautiful! Sets it up with the Deadeye as well, Carpe.
Now, to be fair, Dive isn't completely dead. There have been a number of times where teams have found success with it, even against Brigitte, such as London against New York on Lijiang Tower, where London's dive was successful. And we've also seen games where both teams have run Tracer, with neither making the swap to Brigitte, but it will be interesting to see how this meta develops over the rest of the stage.
And he's gonna send the Tracer under the point. And that's what happens. Yep, there you go. Combo!
However, not every team has adjusted well to this new meta. The Shanghai Dragons were a prime example of this. They had a great opportunity to get a win over the Dallas Fuel this week, especially as their star DPS effect wasn't playing. But Shanghai completely dropped the ball on preparing for this new meta. In the first map, it looked a lot like the King's Row we've seen teams play for the past few months, and as a result, Shanghai took the win. But as soon as we moved on to Hanamura, Dallas Fuel pulled out the Brigitte, and it looked like the first time that Shanghai had even seen this hero. Throughout the rest of the series, they were slow to adapt, and when they did finally make changes, it was already too late or the wrong swaps. They repeatedly made terrible hero choices, like sticking to Winston and Tracer when Brigitte was in play, or running a Pharah into Taimu's Widowmaker. This was the best chance that Shanghai have of getting a win, and Dia played really well for them when he was in the lineup, but honestly, it feels like they just threw this opportunity away by not being prepared to face Brigitte, and as a result, are very likely to end this season without a single win.
The book, it never lies in these scenarios.
It failed you today, though.
Mate, no, there's got to be something else in here, surely. Like, that explains, like, something's going on. Or,
Yeah, see.
or something. Oh, no, not you see? That was what it was.
However, they weren't alone in failing to adapt to the new meta, as we saw a number of other teams struggle. For example, the Boston Uprising seemed to have no answer for Brigitte in their games and her ability to shut down their dive, and as a result, they started this stage with back-to-back losses. This meta is still settling, which is probably why the counterpicking has been very effective this week. There is a good chance that things will settle down over the next couple of weeks and teams will start to copy one another and decide what they think works best. In other news, the Dallas Fuel announced that they have now signed a new head coach. Aero, formerly the head coach for the Fusion University, has joined the team, and from the sounds of things he's going to be looking to make a lot of changes in the team's approach to everything from theory crafting to shot calling. Under Aero's coaching, the Fusion University won the Overwatch Contenders Tournament for North America, so he's coming in with a great track record. Dallas are mathematically eliminated from the league playoffs, but Aero is looking to help them have a good showing in this final stage before really focusing on Season 2, and of course some of the players potentially making their way into their respective World Cup teams for this year. With many of the major issues for Dallas behind them, and hopefully less drama within the team these days, Aero is in a good position to try and rebuild the foundation and hopefully bring this team to a better place within the league.
Why he is the original gangster.
Oh, this is so sick! Look at it. And see, Silk, because he sees the flashbang come out from McCree, he's like, it's go time, baby! I'm gonna hack you all to bits!
The final big story for this week was the LA Valiant climbing over the Seoul Dynasty to take the top spot in the Pacific Division. This is very important, as the teams at the top of each of the two divisions jump right into the semi-finals of the playoffs and don't have to compete in the quarterfinals to earn a spot. Essentially, they are guaranteed at least 4th place and $100,000 in prize money. Seoul have now dropped down to 6th place in the overall standings and are potentially looking at not making the playoffs at all, as the Outlaws and Gladiators are hot on their tail. The race for the playoffs is going to be very tight, with just 2 wins separating 3rd and 8th place. Only the top 6 teams will make it in, and it's very likely going to come down to individual map score for a number of teams, meaning that every round counts. Looking at the stage standings, it's still a bit early to read too much into it, but strong starts from Houston, Gladiators, Fusion, and the Excel bodes well for all of these teams. Looking at the schedule for next week, Boston open things up and hopefully they will have worked out a better way to deal with Brigitte, or Dallas might give them a little bit of trouble and they can't really risk dropping any maps to weaker teams. However, Outlaws versus the Gladiators will probably be the highlight from day 1. On day 2, London versus San Francisco is interesting. London have been struggling a bit of late and can't afford to keep dropping games or they will fall out of the top 6. They need to get a win here, but the Shock are not a team to be underestimated. On day 3, Valiant versus Boston has potential to be a very good game. The New York Excel should crush Seoul Dynasty, and then the Shock versus the Outlaws should be a fun one to watch. Then on day 4, it's Seoul versus London. Both teams have been looking rough and need to get a win here, so expect them both to have their game faces on. Which games are you looking forward to next week, and what do you think of the new pro meta? Will Brigitte become even more popular as we go through the stage? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. As always, this is James for the Curse, saying thanks for watching, and enjoy the game.